Once upon a time, long, long ago, in a quiet little valley where the hills rolled softly and the birds sang sweet songs each morning, there lived a boy named Jack. He was bright-eyed and full of curiosity, the kind of boy who would stop to watch a butterfly or listen to the way the wind whistled through the trees or dream about adventures far beyond the hills. He could see Jack lived with his mother in a small, tumble-down cottage at the edge of the village. Their roof was patched with straw. Their walls leaned just a little. Their clothes were mended many times over. They were not wealthy people, and the only thing of value they truly owned was a gentle brown cow who gave them milk each day. But, dear child, as often happens in old stories, times grew harder. The little cow's milk dried up, and soon Jack and his mother had nothing to eat. His mother sighed, her hands trembling as she folded the same apron she had worn for years. "Oh, Jack," she whispered sadly, "we cannot keep the cow any longer. Tomorrow, you must take her to the market. Sell her for as much as you can, and with that money, perhaps we can buy food enough to last us through the season." Jack nodded, though his heart ached. He loved the cow. She had been his friend, warm and steady, her big eyes kind and gentle. But Jack wanted to help his mother, and so, the next morning, he tied a rope round the cow's neck and led her down the dusty path toward the market. The sun was warm on his shoulders, and the birds sang cheerfully. But Jack felt none of their joy, step after step. He thought of how empty their cupboard was, how weary his mother looked. And then, just as he reached a bend in the road, Jack met a curious old man. His beard was long and silver, his cloak patched with strange colors, and his eyes sparkled like stars. "Well, well, my boy," said the old man, leaning on a crooked staff. "Where are you off to with that fine cow of yours?" Jack explained, his voice soft and a little sad. The old man listened, stroking his beard, and then reached into his pocket. From it he pulled not coins, not jewels, but 5 small beans, round and shining faintly in the light. "These are not ordinary beans," the man whispered. "They are magic. If you plant them tonight, by morning they will grow into something truly wondrous. Trade me your cow, and these beans will be yours." Jack's eyes widened. Magic beans. His heart leapt at the thought of adventure. Without thinking too hard, he agreed. The cow went with the old man, and Jack slipped the 5 beans into his pocket, feeling as if he carried treasures beyond price. But, dear child, when Jack returned home and proudly held out his hand, his mother did not see magic. She saw only beans. Her cheeks flushed red with anger. "Beans," she cried. "You sold our only cow for beans." Foolish boy, she snatched them from his hand and threw them out the window, where they scattered into the dark garden soil. Then she wept, and Jack felt shame heavy on his heart. He went to bed hungry, listening to his mother's quiet sobs in the next room. But oh, when dawn came, something marvelous had happened. Jack opened his eyes and saw a strange green light filling the window. He rushed outside, and there, where the beans had fallen, stood a beanstalk so tall it stretched up beyond the clouds. Its leaves were broad as umbrellas, its stalk as thick as a tree trunk, twisting and twining into the sky. Jack gasped, "It must be true. The beans are magic." Without waiting, without fear, he grabbed hold of the nearest leafy stem and began to climb. Higher and higher he went, the ground falling far below. The air grew cooler, the clouds brushed against his face, and still Jack climbed, until at last he reached the top. And there, dear child, was a land unlike any Jack had ever seen. It was bright and shimmering. with white fields of flowers that glowed like jewels, the great castle rising in the distance so tall, so wide, its doors higher than church towers, its windows larger than sails. Jack's heart beat fast. Carefully, he made his way to the castle. At the door, he met a woman tall and kind-eyed, though weary. She looked down at him and shook her head. "Child, you must not be here," she whispered. "My husband is a giant, and if he finds you, he will eat you up for a breakfast. Go quickly, before he comes." But Jack's stomach growled with hunger, and he looked at her with pleading eyes. "Please, good lady," he begged, "I have nothing to eat. Might you spare a crust of bread?" The giant's wife sighed, her heart soft. She let him in, gave him bread and milk, and tucked him into the shadows. And then the ground began to tremble. Boom, boom, boom. The castle shook with the footsteps of the giant returning home. Through the great doors he came, his head brushing the rafters, his eyes fierce as burning coals. His voice thundered, fee-fee-foo-fum. "I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive, or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread." Jack quivered in his hiding place, but the giant's wife said calmly, "There is no boy here, husband. Only the smell of the world outside clings to you." The giant grumbled, but at last he said, From a sack he pulled gold coins, and he counted them, one by one, until his heavy lids closed and he slept. Jack crept from his hiding place. Quiet as a mouse, he lifted the sack of gold and hurried away, down the beanstalk, down through the clouds, down to the earth where his mother waited. When she saw the gold, her eyes filled with tears not of anger this time, but of relief. They had food, they had warmth, they had hope. For a time, Jack and his mother lived well. But gold, dear child, does not last forever. Soon, their purse grew light once more, and Jack's eyes turned again to the sky where the beanstalk climbed. Curiosity and bravery urged him on. He would climb once more, and so he did. Again he knocked at the castle door. Again the giant's wife pitied him and gave him bread. And again the giant returned, bellowing his dreadful rhyme. Fee-fee-foo-fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. Jack trembled. But once more the wife soothed her husband, and the giant ate and grew sleepy. This time, before dozing off, the giant set a hen upon the table. To Jack's astonishment, the hen laid an egg of solid gold. Oh, Jack thought, his eyes wide, if I had that hen, my mother and I would never be poor again. When the giant smoked, Jack slipped forward, gathered the magical hen, and hurried away. Down the beanstalk he went, down and down until his feet touched the earth. The hen clocked softly, and soon enough, she laid golden eggs for Jack and his mother. Their lives grew easier, their cottage warmer, their table never empty. But, dear child, adventure calls to the hearts of the young. Jack's heart was restless. He remembered the castle above the clouds and the treasures that surely lay within. Once more, he could not resist. For the third time, he climbed the beanstalk, up and up into the land of giants. The wife frowned when she saw him. Little boy, she warned, you have come too often. If my husband catches you, he will surely eat you whole. Please, do not return again. But Jack begged, and she gave him bread, for her heart was too kind to turn him away. This time, the giant returned carrying a harp of gold, its strings shining like sunlight. When he touched it, the harp played by itself, filling the hall with music so beautiful it made Jack's eyes sting with tears. The giant listened, lulled by the melody, until at last he drifted into slumber. Jack crept forward, reached for the harp, but the harp cried out in a clear, sweet voice, "Master, Master, help me." The giant stirred, then roared, his fury shaking the very walls. He leapt up, his great footsteps pounding after Jack. Jack ran as he had never run before, the harp clutched in his arms, its strings still crying out. The giant's breath roared hot behind him, his hands stretching close. Jack scrambled onto the beanstalk and slid down, faster and faster, while above him the giant thundered in pursuit. "Mother!" Jack shouted as he neared the ground. "Bring me the axe." His mother, pale with fear, rushed forward with the heavy axe. Jack swung with all his might. Once, twice, 3 times crack. The beanstalk shuddered, then toppled. Down it crashed, carrying the giant with it. With a terrible cry, the giant fell, and the earth shook as he struck the ground. Silence followed. The giant lay still. The beanstalk was gone, and Jack, breathless and trembling, stood safe beside his mother. The harp was theirs, the hen was theirs, and the lesson, dear child, was Jack's to keep. That courage must be balanced with wisdom. Greed can turn adventure into danger. From then on, Jack and his mother lived peacefully. They used the hen's golden eggs with care, letting them bring comfort but not waste. They listened to the harp's sweet songs in the evenings, its music wrapping round their cottage like a warm blanket, and Jack grew not only in years, but in heart. He never forgot the beanstalk, nor the thrill of adventure, but he also never forgot the kindness of the giant's wife, nor the danger he had faced when his hands reached too far. So, dear child, as you close your eyes tonight and drift toward your dreams, remember Jack's tale. Be brave, yes. Be curious, yes. But also be wise. For sometimes the greatest treasures are not golden eggs or harps of gold, but the love of family, the safety of home, and the lessons we carry in our hearts. And so the story ends, like the soft closing of a book, like the gentle sigh of wind in the trees. Sleep now, little one. Dream of beanstalks climbing into the clouds, of castles in the sky, of music that drifts like sunlight through the air. Dream and rest, for morning will come soon.